Well, welcome to Weather to Watch. Happy Friday to everyone who's tuning in. It's going to be a pretty quiet weekend, but slowly as we start to go through next week and the week after, first several weeks of April, in other words, the jet stream pattern is changing, favoring more of a wet pattern, not just a couple of days, but a little bit of a consistent pattern we're developing for heavier rains in the central plains into the Great Lakes, and also with that, an assumed severe weather threat as well. I'm meteorologist Ted Keller. Let's talk about it. Visible satellite loop of the lower 48, just a vivid image always. And what you see here is a frontal boundary here, but clouds north of that frontal boundary. And as I'll show you in a minute, big high pressure coming on down into the central U.S. here. It's cool, but not as cool as some of the previous cold fronts that have slammed into the central and eastern U.S. At the upper levels, one of the reasons why is because this flow at 500 millibars is not as steeply pulling air out of Canada as the previous couple of cold fronts did. And so we are getting just a kind of a glancing blow kind of push of cool air, something like this, which is easy to wear off, especially when we still have a big old ridge of high pressure in the southwest. And that pattern is breaking down, but for now, it's still there. This system, this trough here, is not really producing much in the way of sensible weather at all and isn't really forecast to. Here's the surface map. High pressure is centered up over Fargo, well, a little south of there actually, and with kind of a heat low down here in the southwest. The frontal system has made it to the Carolinas, down into Louisiana, just north of Houston there, or at least that's what the model thinks it will look like tonight at 7 o'clock. The new EPS weeklies are out as of last night, and this is looking forward now. This is the mean 500 millibar flow starting this Monday and going for the 7 days after that. So there are some pretty big differences. First of all, the ridge, which had been so solidly here for the last couple of weeks, is now shifting to the east coast, and there's some evidence of troughing out here. And that usually means to more active weather in the central U.S., and if that moves, eventually the eastern U.S. Temperature anomalies are warm across almost the entire country, except maybe a sliver of Maine and also parts of Montana and North Dakota. Otherwise, that's it. What's interesting is that the precipitation dew points, first of all, are running a little abnormally high beginning next week through the Ohio Valley, Southern Lakes, Great Lakes states, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, really, and Mexico, and even parts of Texas and New Mexico and Arizona. And then how that translates to precipitation rates is that there's a plume, if you will, of rain that will extend on average. This isn't a day-by-day forecast. This is an entire week, keep in mind, so it's a trend. But from Dallas up through the heart of the Ozarks, up to Chicago, back to Detroit, and over into New York, a pretty wet weather pattern. Let's take a closer look at that. And as a matter of fact, hazardous weather, this is a map that is produced by the government, they just look ahead to potential areas of heavy rain, heavy snow, wind, and they've identified Tuesday of next week as a heavy rain band area. So they're breaking this into two. So that's Tuesday, and then that is Wednesday. And so it just kind of shifts and sinks, if you will, from Missouri to Illinois to southern Michigan, down to Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, parts of Indiana, Ohio as well. Since there isn't really a lot of significant rain before that, I'm showing you the total precipitation for the next 7 days, but the vast majority, if not all of this, is forecast to fall during this time period, Thursday through Friday of next week. So some definite pattern changes going on. All this is because the jet stream is changing and coming more out of the southwest across the central U.S. That allows surface low pressure to develop. It allows southerly winds to develop, and that in turn draws moisture off the Gulf and into the area. And then any little disturbance that's moving along will cause extra rain, basically, and it's a spring phenomenon. It's something we count on in the Midwest, Great Plains, for our precipitation. So on the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, this starts Thursday through Monday of next week. There is still a high confidence, and we're looking at about a 50% chance of being above normal in the Great Lakes states and in southern Texas. How are those temperatures doing? Still a little bit of a seesaw, but the pattern is moving around. So this latest front has cooled down basically everything east of the Mississippi except for a small part of Florida. Central Texas is really going to be much below normal with highs only in around the mid 50s there around San Antonio and actually at San Angelo. And then very warm. The colors indicate above normal temperatures, but the individual numbers tell the story. Denver 81 degrees, very, very hot. And this is the forecast for tomorrow, Saturday. For Sunday, or Monday rather, the entire country is very, very warm indeed. Des Moines will be up to 81 degrees. Fargo will be up to 58. Dodge will hit 90. And it'll be in the 80s in the Ozarks and all points south from there. And then going ahead to the middle of the week, Wednesday, a little bit of an intrusion of cool air here. But because the jet stream is changing to flow more this way, these fronts will be just really ground to a halt a lot earlier. In other words, they're not going to be able to go down like this one today, down to southern Georgia and around the Houston area. These are going to be stopped because the upper level winds are not going to support driving them through anymore. And you can see this in the temperature outlook for Thursday through Monday, with the epicenter of above normal temperatures, or at least the expectation, will be in the southeast now, whereas much of the central plains and the northwest will be averaging just about normal. So I'm going to take advantage of the EPS one more time and just reset it one more week ahead. So instead of starting this Monday and going 7 days, it's the following Monday and going 7 days. So this is the beginning on April 6th. And it still shows high precipitation rates here from Texas into the Tennessee and Ohio River Valley. So again, these areas here over the next couple of weeks are not only going to get a lot more rain, but there's some severe weather possibilities in there too. I'll talk about that. This has been updated from Wednesday. It was more of a broad brush area. Now today's forecast not only includes a large slight risk area, but now there's a moderate risk of this being a rain hazard in this darker green area right here. Very significant. So that means, 2 weeks out, if they're going moderate risk on that, that means that there's high confidence the pattern's going to deliver, basically. So we'll take a look at the supercell composite forecast. This is the 2-week one, so this would go from April 3rd to the 9th. Texas is a hotbed, but I don't think we can discount any of these areas here as being ultimately a little more severe weather prone than maybe indicated here. And if we go April 10th through the 16th, still West Texas, pretty intense. You can just kind of tell by the way this carves out here that by this period, some of the long-range forecasts are indicating high pressure here. So the train of moisture, hence instability, shuts down, it looks like. And we'll take another look at that April forecast, too. That was issued a couple of weeks ago, but I wanted to show it to you that still high confidence of above normal temperatures in Utah and much of the central and southern United States. And interestingly, yes, there is a precipitation outlook for April that does include some of the things we're just talking about. So half the month was just discussed, and this is the entire month. So you can see that at least this contribution here is going to be due to the pattern change expected over the next 2 weeks. Thanks for watching this edition of Weather to Watch. It comes out every other day, or as the weather necessitates. Please remember to share this with your friends, subscribe to the channel, or at the very least, like what you just watched. Thanks.